הרב שליטה ברשות הציבור. We'll take the time that we have to open up your eyes on what our focus should be at this time. And everybody's eyes are for seeing with our own eyes the geulah. How can a person bring the geulah? What is the person's avodah? The whole world is in turmoil. What can we do as a yachid, every yachid himself, to be mekarev the geulah? In the beginning of Parshat Vayechi, Rashi says, why is the Parsha stuma? Why between Vayigash and Vayechi are there no empty spaces in the Sefer Torah? Rashi says, לפי שנפטר יעקב אבינו, נסתמו עיניהם ולibam של ישראל. מצרת השיבוט. Rashi tells us that the whole galut was talui in two things. That the eyes and the heart of Klal Yisrael were nistam, were closed. Yaakov Avinu protected the eyes and the heart of Klal Yisrael, there should be kedusha. And Yaakov Avinu was niftar, there came galut. And what brought galut? Nistamu einehem v'libam. We'll see two things in this week's parsha that show us clearly that everything is talui in the lev and the ayin. It says in the Torah, "Vayar Elokim et bnei Yisrael vayeda Elokim." Rashi, "Vayeda Elokim natan alehem lev v'lo helim einav." What was the beginning of the geulah? That Kaviyachol HaKadosh Baruch Hu put his lev and his ayin back to Klal Yisrael. But there's another Rashi. Rashi says on Moshe Rabbeinu, "Vayar b'sivlotam nasan einav v'libo liot meitzar alehem." Very interesting. Nistemu einehem v'libam. Vayar b'sivlotam. Moshe Rabbeinu gave his eyes and his heart to feel for Klal Yisrael. And what was the result? The beginning of geulah, vayeda Elokim. What? Nasan lev v'ayin. So it's our job to see what this means. We're going to talk things that are based completely on Sfarim HaKadoshim, nothing of my own, but things that will open up your eyes to see the neflaot in Torah and to see clearly what our avodah is. The galus we are in is Galut Edom. There are two people that tell us what's going to happen at the end of Galut Edom. Rab Chaim Vital, Talmid HaAri HaKodosh, in his Pirush on Tefillin, which is not a Pirush al Derech HaKabbalah, a Pirush al Derech HaPshat. It's called Eitz Hadat Tov. Rab Chaim Vital writes clearly that before Mashiach will come, will be another Golus of Ishmael. And so too it says in Maral. Before the geulah, Ishmael will be part of the galut. Let's look in the Torah where there is a connection between Ishmael and Esau. Where do they connect? It says in the Torah Kedosha, Esau saw that his wives weren't finding chen in the eyes of his parents. And he went and took Basmat, Bat Yishmael, and married her. So Basmat is the chibur, the connection between Esau and Ishmael. So let us see what the word Basmat means to us. First I will show you that the last city before Klal Yisrael went into Eretz Yisrael, the end of Ever HaYarden. It says in the end of Parshas Matot, the city was called Sivma. Not the same letters, but instead of a Taf, a Hey. That was the end in order to come into Eretz Yisrael. The Gaon of Vilna tells me that the word Sivma is the Rosh Tevot of the first Mishnah in Mesechet Baba Kama. In Mesechet Baba Kama it says in the first Mishnah, Aba'a Avot Nezikin. Schorr, Bor, Mave, Heve. Rosh Tevet Sivma. Yesh Dalet Mazikim. There are 4 Mazikim that are Ma'akev, that you have to overcome to go into Eretz Yisrael. They block you from going into Eretz Yisrael. The Chsam Sofer in Baba Kama Daf Bet says Basmat is the same thing. Rosh Tevot, Bor, Schorr, Mave, Tavera. Instead of Heve, Tavera. So we see that the Ichud of Ishmael and Esau caused the 4 kochos, the 4 greatest powers that there are, the 4 kochot of Ra. So we have something to work on. We have to overcome Basmas. How do we overcome Basmas? There's a Sefer Nifla that has a Peladik history. The Gaon of Vilna had a Talmid that went up to live in Eretz Yisrael. He was one of the closest Talmidim. A Mendel Mishklov, his name is. He lies on Har HaZeitim. About 40 years ago, in a Martef in Yerushalayim, they found a Ksaviyad in a basement. They didn't know whose it is, and it was his Ksaviyad and Kabbalah. In our generation, it opened up Or Nifla in Kabbalah, Otzrot Norot. And one of the things he tells us is the following. Let us we'll go slow because it's numbers you have to take slowly. Ayin and Lev. We have an Ayin, we have a Lev. We know that what is Lashon HaKodesh different than any other language. Any other language, let's take English. An A is an A, there's nothing in it. In the Aleph, there's an Aleph and a Lamed and a Peh. It has a Pnimiyut. And not only does it have a Pnimiyut, then it goes further and further and further and further. So if I want to know what an Ayin and a Lev is, we're going to take the Ayin and fill it in, and the Lev and fill it in. Ayin is Ayin, Yud, Nun is 130. A Yud is 20, is 150. A Nun is 106. It's 256. Ayin is 256. Lev, a Lamed is 74. A Bet is Beis Yud Taf, it's 412. It's 486. Together, 486 and 256 is 742 Basmas. Says the Mendel Mishklav, you want to know what Basmas Koyach comes from? You want to know where the Koyach comes from, the Ichud of Esau and Ishmael? 2 Evarim, the Ayin and the Lev. That's where the Koyach comes from. Davar Nifla. Davar Nifla. So he shows you that the Koyach of these 2 are lying in the Ayin and the Lev. We'll see a lot more than that along the way, but I want to just open up your eyes a little bit more. We look at Esau and Ishmael, and really I can ask you a question. Are the Arabs really Bnei Ishmael? Are Edom really Bnei Edom? No. So why am I calling Edom Ishmael? Why are we misplacing it? Open up a Tehillim. In Tehillim it says a pasuk, Samu Yeshalayim Li'iyim. Iyim is spelled Ayin, Yud, Mem. Says the Gaon of Vilna. The Mendel Mishklav brings, he heard from Shamati Ma'admo, means the Gaon of Vilna. Iyim is Rosh Tevis Esav, Yeshu, Ishmael, Mahmud. Here are the Tevot of the Vilna Gaon. Iyim, again, Esau, and the Maminim be Yeshu. Ishmael and the Maminim be Mahmud. In other words, the Gaon of Vilna told me, yes, Esau is those that have the Christian religion, and Ishmael is those who have the Muslim religion. So it's not misplaced that we call them Ishmael, we call them Esau. It's something that exists. It's something that exists. Because the Maminim, Adavar Nifla, will go further. In Gemara, in Mesechet Megillah, Vav Amid Bet, the Gemara calls the Galut Yated Tku'a Yisrael. A Yated is a spike. Tku'a that's stuck into Klal Yisrael. Says Ramendel Mishklov, which Yated? Yeshu is 316. Mahmud is 80, 88, 98. Together, Begematria, Yated. That's the Yated Tku'a Yisrael. The two kochot that there are together. The koch of Ishmael, the koch of Esau. These are the two kochot. They are the Yated Tku'a Yisrael. It opens up our eyes to see that everything is clear. You just have to know where you find it, and you have to know where to look for it. So we'll go backwards now. Now that we see a little bit of a picture, and we realize that we're in the tkufa of the ichud, of the two golios, and the picking up of a world. I don't know if I should say what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. In the wildest of dreams, 5 years ago, there's a pasuk in the Torah that says, Elaka miteman. That in the Gula, the geulah will come from Teman. I would tell you 10 years ago that it's going to have Teman and something have to do with the geulah of the world. What would you tell me? Teman is a country that doesn't exist today. It doesn't play a role today. And suddenly in front of your eyes, Teman and America are at odds. It makes sense to you. It makes sense to you unless you see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is turning the world and there's something going on over here. So we realize that we have to concentrate and see what is our avodah. We said before, Basmat is the ichud of the two. Bor, Schorr, Bor, Mave, the Mishnah. It says in Svarim HaKadoshim, these four mazikim are mazikim in Gashmiut, but they're mazikim in Ruchnius also. Schorr is milashon riyah. You have in the Torah, Ashurenu means riyah. Shur means to see. So the mazik of Schorr is the mazik of riyah, the mazik of the Ayin. The mazik of bor, what is a bor? An empty hole. It's the mazik of not being busy. The mazik of having extra time in your hands. And when you have extra time in your hands, you fall into a hole. That's the bor mazik, the extra time in your hands, which makes you fall. It says in Mishnah and Pikei Avot, Lo ma'aretz chasid, v'lo bor yirechet. Says the Gaon of Vilna. Ama'aretz that's busy and is at work 24 hours a day could be a Yirei Shamayim. He's not a chassid, he doesn't do lefnim mishurat hadin. But if he's busy, he's okay. But a bur, somebody that goes empty, he can't be a Yirei Chet. He'll fall through an averot. If you want to know one of the greatest problems in today's generation, is that we're not busy. We made a 5-day work week, 9 to 5, and from 9 to 5 you have off here and you have off there. We're not busy people in being really busy. So that's why we fall through. That's the bor. And that bor is that the heart wanders. The heart wanders. The heart wants this and the heart wants that. That's Schorr and bor. Mave is Shen, says the Gemara. I don't have to tell you that in all the generations, from Matan Torah till today, there was never such a tavat achila like today. Everybody could tell me that. Anybody who's 40 years old could tell me that 20 years ago you didn't have what you have today. Let me tell you over a sifri. A sifri is a medrash, halacha. What Nazinu, the sifri tells us dvarim niflaim. It says in the Torah, vayishman yishurun vayivat. What does it mean, vayishman yishurun vayivat? First of all, Yeshurun is the highest name of Klal Yisrael. And they're only mentioned 3 times. Twice in Azinu, once in Zot HaBaracha. And here it says, Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivot. Says the Sifri, a moshel. A person has an axe. And he wants the axe to grow up strong and he should be able to work good for him. So he gives the axe to eat young, when he's very young, very good food. And the first day he wants the axe to go out, he puts on a yoke on the axe. And the axe, from being given such strong food, breaks the yoke right away. It says the Sifri in the Dorot before Mashiach will come, the world will be suffer from Vayishman Yeshurun. They'll be suffer from a lot of eating and a lot of food. And they'll be porek the all of Torah and mitzvot. A clear sifri on our generation, the Tava of Shen, the Tava of Tavat Achila. I think what's available today in one night wasn't available to our grandparents in a year. The money that we spend on food, the money that we spend on wine, it's Vayishman Yeshurun Vayivat. It's the mazik of Maveh. The mazik of Hever is the mazik of Kas, Ish, Kas. That's Basmat. Those are the 4 mazikim that there are. That comes from the ichud of Esau and Ishmael. They make us these 4 mazikim. They give us these 4 mazikim. Our avodah is to fight Basmat. And we said how you fight Basmat. You fight Basmat by controlling your eyes and controlling your heart. Controlling your eyes and controlling your heart. They are the biggest opening for everything. You say Kriyat Shema every day. In Kriyat Shema is a big Ayin and a big Dalit. We know that Ayin and that Dalit represents Eidut. The Chidah says, no. The Ayin represents the eye and the Dalit represents Dibur. It says in Chovat al-Vavot, the Peh is Kulmus Alev, is the pen of the heart. So in Kriyat Shema, when we Mekabel Ol Malchus Shamayim, on what do we Mekabel Ol Malchus Shamayim? On the Ayin and the Lev, the Dibur that comes out of the Lev. Our avodah is in these 2 things. It says in Parashat Vayeshev, Aye HaKedesha Hi Be'enayim. Yehuda sent to look for Tamar. It says in Pasak, Aye HaKedesha Hi Be'enayim. It says in Sfarim HaKedoshim, Davar Nifla. But I want to be preface with something to wake us up. You take a particle of sand, and you put it anywhere on your body, it's no problem. You put a particle of sand in your eyes start to tear, your eyes start to bother you. Why? Why? What's the reason for it? There's a sefer called Or Yitzchak. It was printed 150 years ago, maybe more. It says, because where is the neshama in a person? Where's the neshama in a person? In his einayim. And the neshama cannot be sovel gashmiut. And if one particle of sand or an eyelash goes into the eyes cannot be so valid. They can't take it. Why? Because that's the makom ha-kedusha. Ayeh kedusha hi be'einayim. You want to know where the kedusha of a person is? It's in his eyes. That's where the neshama kedusha is. And that neshama kedusha cannot take the gashmiut of the world. And that's why it's disturbed even by a... So we know that we have to work on our anayim and lef. Which mitzvah did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us day in and day out to help us conquer our anayim and lef? The mitzvah of Tefillin. The Tefillin shal yad is neged alev. The Tefillin shal rosh is litatofot ben enecha. Chazal tell us that ben enecha doesn't mean here. Ben enecha means here. Why? Because you learn from let it go to do. All of you know an optometrist. Ask him to show you a picture of the nerve of the eyes, the optical nerve. You know where the optical nerve goes? The optical nerve goes from here to here, from here to here. You put the Tefillin Sharosh on the optical nerve. The optical nerve then travels exactly where the Ritzuot are, and the optical nerve comes back together exactly where the Kesher is. The Tefillah Beinei Necha, Chazal told us they're here. But the Eidav Apele, the Tefillin lie on the optical nerve of a person. Because the Tefillin are there to be Mekadesh, the Ayin and the Lev. Tefillin Shayat to be Neged Alev, and Tefillin Sharosh is on the Einayim, Ben Enecha, and it's Mekadesh, the Kedusha of the Koach of the Einayim, the optical nerve. The Meshech Chachma in Parshat Vayechi, I think, or in this week's Seder, or on both, brings a pasuk in Melachim. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu says on the Beit HaMikdash, Vaya eini v'libi sham kal hayamim. Kaviyochol, like we learned, the Eibishter looks at Klal Yisrael and has a heart for Klal Yisrael. Where is that? In the Beit HaMikdash. I'll show you a very interesting thing. In whose chelek, in which one of the Shvatim was the Beit HaMikdash? Binyamin. The Torah Akdosha writes Binyamin two ways. With one Yud or with two Yudin. Malay. Binyamin Malay is Gematria, Ayin Lef. The Beit HaMikdash is Bechelko. It says in Zohar Kodesh, ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם da Gaza the Tefillin. This is the sword of the mitzvah of Tefillin. There are others that say it. After they put on Tefillin, they say this piece of Zohar. Because a person has to realize when he's putting on Tefillin, he has Kedushat HaMikdash. What? The Ayin and the Lev. That's the Beis HaMikdash. The Ayin and the Lev is the Beis HaMikdash. You have the Ayin and Lev from yourself. You mishabed your Ayin and Lev. You subjugate your Ayin and Lev to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And on the other side, HaKadosh Baruch Hu reciprocates with V'hayu Eini V'libi. The Eibishter gives his Ayin and his Lev. So if we want to know what our avodah of our generation is, what is the avodah of our generation? I said today to youngsters, something we can say to us too. Our grandparents, wherever they came from the day they were born to the day they passed away, didn't see in all of their life what we see in a day. weren't exposed to it, weren't, I don't say what we see, what we're exposed, what we're able to see. They lived a life of purity, of Kedusha. They didn't see and they didn't want. There was no Ayin, there was no Lev. They had nothing. What did they want? What they lived in the mountains. They lived alone. What did they have? They lived in ghettos. What did they have? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us and put us in a world of nisyonot in the Ayin, nisyonot in the Lev. There's nobody in the world that could say, except somebody who sits in a room and doesn't walk out, that could say he doesn't have nisyonot in the eyes and in the heart. The streets scream. Why is that? Because that's our avodah. Because that's the way you conquer Esau and Ishmael. That's the way you conquer Basmat. It says in the Mendel Mishkalov, Basmat is begematria Tzion Yerushalayim. You want to bring back Tzion, you want to bring back Yerushalayim, you have to conquer Basmat. How do you conquer Basmat? You mishabed the Ayin, the left to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us nisyonot. Nobody says not. The hardest of nisyonot. We face nisyonot that are, we can't imagine the nisyonot. But that's for a reason, because we have to conquer it. So if we want to know what we can do for Gaza, what can we do for Gaza? How can we make our soldiers overcome? How can we win Gaza? There's only one way you can win Gaza. Mashiach should come. There's no way in Derech HaTeva. Everybody says it. They say it themselves, the government. They can't overcome. Gula could overcome. How do we bring Gula? Every single person can bring Gula. Conquer your Lev and your Ayin. That you could conquer. Gaza we can't conquer. But the Lev and Ayin we could conquer. We could conquer our heart. We could conquer our eyes. We could work on that. And if we'll work on our Ayin and Lev, that Basmat, the nations of the world that gathered together against Israel, against Yidden, we'll be able to conquer them. We'll be able to bring them under. That's our avodah. That's what lies on us. And just like Gulat Yisrael Mitzrayim was through the Ayin and Lev, the Galus was through the Ayin and Lev, and Nehem Velibam was Stumim, and just like the Gula was Nasan Libo Velaheli Meinav, so too in our Galut. If we will be Mekadesh the Ayin and the Lev, we'll use the mitzvah of Tefillin to be Mekadesh the Ayin and Lev, we'll be Zochet to see with our eyes when HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings the Gula b'mheira b'yameinu.